Do you ever feel like you're stuck or just you can't move forward in some way, or you've tried everything possible and you're just not getting to the goal that you want to get to, or you're not feeling the way that you wish you could feel, or your relationship isn't very good, or your financial situation isn't very good? This video will help you, I think, push forward a little bit by the end. And that's the goal anyway. And so I'm going to be talking about self-concept, identity, and casting a vision and starting to believe that you can actually have the things that you really, really want. So if you're new here, my name is Samantha and I'm a therapist, and I'm creating a video every day for a year to get over my fear of public speaking, which I've pretty much conquered. Had a big fear of the camera, so I just decided to turn it on 188 days ago. This is video 188. And so I'm on my way to 365. So thank you for being here with me so much. I wanted to start with this awesome book that I read. I've never heard of this book, called Your Invisible Power by Genevieve Barrand. And I think that's how you say her last name. And she said, there's a ton of good stuff in here, and I just want to read the whole dang book to you, but I'll spare you today. But someday I do want to teach out of this book because it is amazing. It is just amazing. She says the same things that we hear in manifestation talk, but the way that she says it is just, I don't know, she just says things in a different way, and I really like it. So one thing she says is we need to have absolute dominion over our negative thoughts, basically. So she says absolute dominion is yours when you have sufficient self-mastery to conquer the negative tendency of thoughts and actions. So basically, the only thing holding you back is you. The only thing holding you back is you. The only thing holding you back is you. Remember this, and you have dominion over everything. It's only your mind that is holding you back from whatever you're wanting. I want you to really think about that. If it's only you, then that means it's you who can change it and change the whole trajectory of your life. Now, we are taught that we need to stay small or think small, or the big things that we want we can't have, or, oh, I've always been this way, so I'm never going to get what I want. I've tried this 25 times and I failed every time. I don't care how many failed marriages you have, failed friendships, failed jobs, failed businesses. You feel like failure as a parent. I don't care what it is. All that's happening is you're believing more in failure than in actual winning and moving forward. That's all that it is. You have more evidence of failure than you do not failure. The opposite of failure, winning, achieving, getting what you want, getting to the end goal, whatever that is. Remember that also that the end goal of everything is just that we feel better. We think we're going to feel better when we get something, or we have something, or we are something. We feel like we're going to feel better. So I want you to think about what you're thinking about. What do you believe about yourself? What do you say to yourself on a daily basis? What are the dominant thoughts that you think about yourself? These are the things that need to be examined, because when you examine these things, you have dominion over your life. And that's what Genevieve's saying. Absolute dominion is yours when you have sufficient self-mastery to conquer the negative tendency of thought and actions. So we have a tendency to think negatively. This is programmed into us by people who also probably were programmed negatively in our past. We've had different things happen to us, and we made this certain event or people around us, we made things mean something about us. Therefore, we think very small in comparison to how large we could think. So I want you to start thinking big, and I want you to cast a vision. What do you want your life to look like, and how do you want to feel? What identity would you have to become to achieve that thing that you're wanting? The identity that you're in now, if you're constantly berating yourself, which most of us, I think, do that, unfortunately, in life. 80% of our thoughts, at least, I don't know who did the math on this, but this was a statistic that I saw, but 80% of our thoughts are negative. That's a lot of negative thoughts. We think 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day. 95% of those thoughts are the same thoughts we thought yesterday. So if 80%, that's a lot of percentages, sorry about that, that's a lot of math, 80% of those 95% thoughts that we thought yesterday are negative, that is a lot of negative thoughts. So I want you to think about, what do I dominantly think about myself that is negative? And I want you to think about, what would it feel like if I started thinking better about myself? What could change in your life if you started doing that? What do you think would change? And the how is none of our business. We just cast the vision. That's all we have to do. That's our job. Our job is not to figure out the how. When we start to think about the how, that's whenever we go off into the weeds and we lose our power every single time. So we have to have self-mastery, which means we've got to have dominion over our thoughts. We've got to have control over our thoughts. We've got to direct our thoughts where we want them to go. And we have to tell our brain how to think. And that's what I love to talk about, is teaching people how to think on purpose. We think by default. We think by our programming. This is why we're not getting anywhere where we really want to go. You're here for a purpose. You are not here to think small. You are not here, unless you want to. There are people out there that just want what they call a boring life. Some people are like, I like my boring little life, because they see so many problems out there and they're like, I like my boring little life. And that is great. But for the people who feel like they're called to do more in some area, this video is for you. Think big. And when I say think big, I mean like think bigger than you've ever thought in your entire life. Think about the vision. Describe your house that you live in right now. Describe it out loud to yourself. Well, I walk through the front door and this is there and that's there and this picture's on the wall, and you turn right and this is there and there's the kitchen and there's the pots and pans and there's this and there's that and there's the car out in the garage. And describe it in detail. That is what your vision should look like. You want to be able to be very clear with the vision. What's the end feeling that you want to feel? What's the end goal? What's the financial goal you may want to have? What's the business you want to create? What's the family look like that you want to create? What's the relationship look like and feel like that you want to create? When you come home, what does your home feel like? What do you want it to feel like when you get home and you open that door and you're like, do you want peace, happiness, joy? What do you want in your life? Remember, do not try to figure out the how. That is when our power goes away, because we almost, we just muddy up the waters. That's what it is. It's like we're pouring water over a fire. Keep the flame lit as much as possible. Direct your thought to that dang flame and don't let it go away from there. Don't take your attention away from that flame. You're igniting a flame with your vision. It's got to be clear, clean, pure. Direct your thought right there. Stay right there. And what's the purpose behind it? What's your why? Why do you want this thing? What would it feel like if you had this thing? Describe it in detail. Start visualizing this. And then start thinking about, okay, what's the identity that I would have to take on to become this person that has this? What would that feel like? What am I doing now that I need to let go of in order to become this new person? What would that be? It's the identity. We start with the identity, the self-concept. How do I see myself? What do I say to myself on a daily basis? How am I holding myself back with my thoughts? These thoughts are sneaky. They'll come in and get you every time. They're sitting there waiting to be ignited with a, yeah, but this and this and this, and this is how I've always been, and this is how I've always thought. And well, somebody like me can't have that. I'm not capable of doing that. Well, I've tried that before. I've tried it 25 times and it didn't work. We've got to remember all the people out there who have been super successful have also, quote, failed a lot of times. But each time you fail with something, each time something doesn't work, it's not a failure, it's a lesson. You're always learning something, and it's just a stepping stone. I look at it like a stepping stone, literally. It is a stepping stone to the next stepping stone. It's the next stepping stone. Everything is a stepping stone. We're always leveling up. Always. We're never stagnant. We're never stuck. We're always learning something. It's just, what gem are you going to pull out of that event that happened and take with you to the next stepping stone, the next event that's going to mold and shape you into the next stepping stone that you need to get to. Because right now we can see 20 stepping stones ahead, but we've got to create the identity first of the person that has that thing so we can actually be that person. We may not be ready to be that person yet. So we got to take some stepping stones on the way there. That's what's so interesting about this. How you see yourself is number one. You've got to look at yourself and say, okay, how am I speaking to myself every day? If you wouldn't say it to your best friend or your child or a baby you just met, do not ever say it to yourself. Watch that. Change your self-talk. That is probably the number one thing that I would recommend anybody do. And the other thing that I've said a million times on my channel that I love to talk about is thankfulness and appreciation and gratitude. Literally look around your entire room or your house or whatever, wherever you are, and literally thank everything. Thank your whole body. Thank everything on your body. Thank everything around you. Just thank everything, because it starts to create this energy inside of you that is thankfulness energy, gratitude energy. That is what starts attracting more thoughts like it. That's another secret. That's the law of attraction. Every thought that you have starts attracting thoughts just like it. That's that energy movement. It's in motion. It's like you think one thought, just like when you think a negative thought and you start to spiral downward, you start to think more negative thoughts and more negative thoughts. And you remember what happened in second grade? That is what happens. It's that negative momentum. So we want to create positive momentum on purpose, because if you don't create things on purpose, it's by default. It'll always happen like that. It's just what you've thought all the time is going to go right back there every single time by default, because it's programmed that way. So we've got to reprogram. We've got to redirect the thought. And that's where your power is. You get to decide how you think every single day. A lot of people don't know that you can do that you can think on purpose. But you just have to disrupt the thought that you're having on a daily basis during your day. Oh my gosh, we have so many thoughts. You can't catch them all, of course, but you can catch the dominant ones. And those are the ones that really matter. And you can start programming in the things that you wish somebody would have told you, or you wish you would have spoken to yourself better in the past. Now you can do it today. You can start today. And I've also recommended in the past to do mirror work. Look in the mirror and just say really kind things to yourself. Like, I love you. That would be a great thing to start with. You're amazing. You're capable. You're worthy. Anything that feels good to you to say, come up with these affirmations and just say them. Look into your eyes and say them. It's very powerful. I had a subscriber that said that this really changed his life. And so I would highly recommend it. It is very powerful. It's changed my life too. There's been so many things that have happened because I've seen myself differently. I encourage you to see yourself differently every day and watch what happens around you. Watch what happens. Watch what you start manifesting around you. It is amazing what happens when you see yourself in a nice, kind, loving light versus however you were seeing yourself before. And we've got to remember our vision. Why do we want this thing? What do we want? Do we want a clear, we want clarity. We know we want clarity. But how do we get clarity? Well, we've got to get clear on who we are and who we want to be. And then you can cast that vision of what you are actually wanting in your life. What do you want your day-to-day to look like? Your schedule. How much time do you want to have that's free time? What would you do in your free time? If you had your own business, what business would it be? Who would you serve? What type of people would you help? Or what kind of career would you have if you wanted to have a certain career or a different job or a relationship? What would that look like for you? Just start visualizing, create a mental picture that is so clear that it feels like it's real. And really, it is real. It happened. And so you're creating a memory. So you want to get so clear on something and feel it in your body so well that it creates a memory that you can go back to. That's the goal. And every day, just go back to that memory. And your brain and body don't know the difference. They don't know if it's true or false, ever. So you can train your brain and body to think that something is real. And also, close your eyes. When you visualize, close your eyes. And you're going to feel your vision, whatever that is, that mental picture. You're going to create that mental state from inside and start feeling it. And then you're going to open your eyes and you're going to live in that feeling. You're going to live as if whatever you visualized has already happened and you're already that person. That's the challenge. I want you to practice that. I want you to comment below and let me know that you're committed to doing that. And in the future, just keep commenting and let me know how you're doing with this practice, because this is such an important practice to do. I think everybody in the world should practice this. It's so powerful and it just makes you feel so much better. We need to make ourselves feel better, and we can. We have the power to create anything with our minds. It just takes power of positivity instead of the negative thoughts that we're thinking, the self-doubt that comes in. So when you have a clear picture of what you're wanting and you train yourself to believe it, that's when you're going to see a big shift in yourself and in your life. So I encourage you to practice this. Let me know if this helped you in some way. If it did, please share this with somebody who it might also help. Please like and subscribe. If anybody would like any one-on-one coaching, I do offer that. The links are below in the description. And I love you. I want you to tell somebody that they are loved and that you love them today. Pass that on to someone who might need that. And remember, what you appreciate, so appreciate yourself. And I'll see you later. Bye.